Opened in 1869, the Grade 2 listed building is an iconic figure on the Manchester skyline. Purposely built as a place of execution and home to some of the most infamous inmates in the country, this is the history of Strangeways Prison. The mid-1800s saw the closure of the New Bailey Prison in Salford. A new, more modern prison was needed, so the government looked to Albert Waterhouse to design something modern, intimidating and fit for purpose. Waterhouse was well known amongst the public for his amazing designs. His neo-Gothic Manchester Town Hall and the Natural History Museum in London were two of his more well-known properties. He designed the prison in his own neo-classical style. A mixture of Romanesque and Jacobean styles can be seen, all making for a very unique looking prison. The design spreads out in a star shape from a central ventilation shaft. Known to many as the Watchtower, it is actually just a ventilation shaft used to get fresh air into the prison and the smell of ball sweat and grease out. Out of that central core spread 10 wings split into 2 blocks. It takes its name from the park it was built on. Strangeways Park dates back to the year 1322. Strang being the old Anglo-Saxon word for a strong stream, and was meaning nearby, presumably taking its name from the River Irwell that runs very close. Over time, Strangeways became Strangeways, just morphed over time into the word Strangeways. The prison was purposely built to be a place of execution and being the first prison with a permanent hanging shed built. Despite opening in June of 1869, the first execution happened in March, that being of 21-year-old Michael Johnson, who was hanged by William Calcroft. Despite only 100 hangings being held here, it was one of the most busy hanging sheds in the country. Some of the most famous hangings include Margaret Allen, hung by Albert Pierrepoint for the murder of an elderly lady, Tom Davis on sexual deviancy charges, Dr. Buck Ruxton, executed for the murder of his wife, and Britain's quickest ever hanging by Albert Pierrepoint. The hanging of James English took only 7 seconds, which I imagine seems like a lifetime when you're swinging from a noose. For more information on Albert Pierrepoint, see my other video about him, link below. On the 1st of April 1990, 147 staff and 47 prisoners were injured in a series of riots by inmates. 2 people died in the riots, 1 a prison officer who died of a heart attack, and 1 inmate. The whole thing lasted 25 days, with much of the older prison being destroyed. It took another 4 years to rebuild it all up to a modern standard, and when reopened the prison was named HMP Manchester to try and get away from the stigma that the riot caused. Some of its more notable prisoners include Joey Barton, a professional footballer jailed for assault, Brendan Behan, an Irish Republican playwright and poet, imprisoned in 1947 for attempting to free an IRA prisoner. Ian Brady was held there for theft prior to the Moors murderers. Mark Bridger was held here on remand until he was found guilty of the murder of April Jones and moved to Wakefield Prison. Singer and Stone Roses frontman Ian Brown was held here after an air rage incident and went on to write 3 songs about his experience. TV presenter and antiques dealer David Dickinson was held here for fraud. Dale Cregan was held here whilst waiting trial for double murder. Dr. Harold Shipman was held here and eventually moved off to Wakefield Prison. And interestingly, Christabel Pankhurst, Emily Davidson, Catherine Tolson and Helen Tolson, all suffragettes, were locked up here for various crimes relating to the suffragette movement. As of 2021, the prison's holding around 1,700 prisoners in a prison designed for 1,000 prisoners. It is chronically overcrowded and underfunded. It's just a powder keg waiting to blow. New prisons are being built, but not quick enough to handle the amount of prisoners we currently have in prison.